It's a game. We used to play a game, high, low, and something.
7 o'clock. We'll call the Village of Mount Sterling Council meeting for December 9th to order. Roll call, please.
David?
Here.
Andy?
Yeah.
Marcy? Here. Becky? Here. Flo?
Yes, I'm here.
Craig?
Here.
All's present.
Thank you. Jim, you will lead us in prayer.
Gracious Father, we ask you today to give our local leaders wisdom to make decisions affecting our town. We pray they will be thoughtful in their decisions and listen to the voices of our community. We pray for courage to stand up for our town and to live with dignity and grace. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you very much. Please remain standing for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Be seated. Live?
Yep.
Very good. Before you have the minutes from the council meeting, November 25th of 19. You also have the finance workstation for November 26th. And you also have the wastewater workstation from December 3rd in front of you. I need a motion to approve.
Give you that motion.
Thank you. A second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Vote.
David?
Yes.
Andy?
Here.
Marcy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Flo?
Yes,
Craig?
Yes.
Okay, if I can circulate this around to capture your signatures, please.
I have no comments tonight. That leads us to President Pro Tem Timmons.
First, I'd like to say how pleasant the village was Saturday. It had the Christmas spirit. They even suffered through my singing, so it was a lot of fun. And I also want to thank the Nazarene Church. They had a beautiful nativity scene. I had a chance to see it. That showed the spirit of the season. And Bill, I personally want to thank you for tonight for the service you've done for our community.
Thank you.
And that's all I got to report.
Thank you. That leads us to public comments. I see we have Rich.
Hey, man, I hadn't had a chance to talk to Andy before. Andy called me this evening, so we've got a little bit of a game plan together for going over this whole thing with my property and these trucks coming in. The problem's still there. They managed to destroy some more of my yard, destroy more of the curb, so it's not getting any better. So I just, I'm gonna continue coming in and talking with y'all. I appreciate you listening to me, but the problem's there. Something's gotta give for me. That's my main reason.
After the last council meeting you was at, Rich, I had a conversation with Josh. The owner of that, and I talked to him about your concerns with the property. He was not aware that the property, the empty lot in question for a driveway, he was not aware of that. He was going to look into that with the owner. And he understands your concern. I told him it wasn't going to get any better until we basically got a new driveway put in there. I showed him the damage that the semis had done. He did agree to take out approximately 50 feet of fence there at the corner and move it back to make a larger turning area there, which is not going to help your problem. It's not, it's exactly right. But he assured me he would,
About fixing my yard, my retaining walls, the curbs.
I told him that, I showed him. And he is I told him that Andrew was heading up the, I guess, investigation or checking into it. So he's supposed to let us know something soon. I don't know how soon. And as soon as he gets a hold of me, of course, I'll get a hold of Andrew. I would rather him deal with Andrew, actually. So as soon as he gets a hold of us, I'll let you know. I'll see you. I'll let you know.
I appreciate it, you're still gonna see me each month.
Please, absolutely.
Until I feel like something's getting done for me, but Andy called me.
Yep.
So I'll give Andy a chance to see what we can come up with.
And that goes for any resident, obviously, with traffic issues. We're trying to look at how the flow through the village works because it's drifted over time and streets are pointed potentially the wrong direction. So curbs need to be marked right, signs need to be put right, and the width of certain places, like your alley, for example, is not conducive to a really large tractor-trailer rig.
Yeah.
It never was designed for that.
Rich, like I said, I'm always concerned, like I said before when I talked to you, but that one idea of mine, well, it wouldn't work, but one I told you about.
Yeah.
But be aware too, it's all four corners.
Right,
of the
right.
intersection, because they've already torn down
there-
the wall, and
yeah.
they were across the street, it's already busted and laying in the yard, he just buried in the ground, in the street. He
Yeah.
just refuses to touch it.
Yeah.
I showed him all that. He's well aware now of the issue, and he's aware of the solution. He was concerned about cost, and I told him the only thing that he could do is get a hold of the property owner and try to work something out. That I had got a hold of David Kale at the Chamber of Commerce. That went nowhere. So Josh knows that he's probably going to have to foot the entire bill. So I don't know what else to tell you. Yes, sir.
I have some comments on that because many years ago, and I don't remember how many or the year, but it was in 75 or 76, from that point on, that we had that problem, and an ordinance or a resolution, Mark doesn't remember it, but I do, was made that you could not make a right-hand turn off of Main Street into Versa. No
Clark Street.
right-hand turn, Mark. Somewhere it's in the records. So they had to go around town and come in from the west on Main Street, then make the left into Versa, and that solved the problem. They did not run over everything. As time went by and Pettit's owned the Versa Corporation, and the Versa went to the Pettit's, and then the sales were made, there was no need to watch that because there was no business, no reason for the trucks to come in there. So as time went by, it was lost. But it's on the records, Mark, somewhere in your records, in these ordinances. So,
Find it, Mark.
that's,
So it's our challenge to find that, make sure, and then look at overall, I go back to the streets. We need to do a better job in the Streets Commission,
but when-
taking it up and looking at the traffic flow, because that could be an opportunity for improvement right there. But
you look-
obviously, we want to be,
you look at the police department has been dissolved,
right,
and those police officers have passed away, like Roger Sparks and Roy. The only one that might have some remembrance of it would be Jim Gossett, because he's still living, and I'm sure he might. But until you find it, you're not resolving anything. That's it.
You'll check into that,
I will
Andrew?
check into that, and I have a commitment to meet with Rich on Saturday morning,
Okay, very good.
whenever he gets off
All
work.
right.
Rich, our next meeting is January 14th. I will go.
January 14th.
Happy holidays.
January
Happy
14th.
holidays,
Hey,
Rich.
Rich, thanks for coming out there.
Yeah,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, no
I'm not as
problem.
angry as last time.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
The struggle sometimes counts.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Thank
Rich. See you later. He made it. Any other comments from the public? Jim?
My question is, I'm embarrassed to even bring it up, because that's serious, and what I have is not serious at all. I didn't get to come to the last meeting, I was out of town.
Mm-hmm.
But the previous meeting, I asked about putting the MPs at the intersection, and painting them there, and I was waiting for an answer, and I didn't know if you guys had an answer yet or not.
Yeah, so we are going to consider legislation around the regulation of the placement of permanent markings on public thoroughfares through town. Some of this, you should know, is regulated by ODOT because we live at 56 and 62, so some of those are theirs. Other parts of the street are ours in the village, and so we are drafting legislation actually right now. It may be prepared, I'll defer to our fiscal officer around where the current status of that is, but yes, it is proceeding forward around basically the regulation and placement of, what would you call it, semi-permanent? Probably, right?
That's what,
Yeah, and so, things that don't wash off easily, how about that? And so, yes, that has moved through the Streets Committee, we had a pretty lively debate about that, just exactly how far and what would you do around, basically getting rid of some of it? If someone came along and just spray paint, for example, on the public street, what would you do about that? So could you get a fine, for example, for doing that? So short answer is yes, that is moving forward, and I'm happy to show to you the current draft of the legislation as it is right now. So we would like to move forward on that,
the
probably in
art
January.
department at Aspen Plains has, if they get the okay, of course, from you all.
Yep, yep.
And from ODOT.
Yep,
Hey, Jim, we should definitely know,
Actually do.
Jim, we should definitely know something after first of the year.
First
'cause
of the year.
We're working on it right now.
there is not, no.
All right then,
Okay.
thank you.
No, absolutely, thank you. Thank you for the question.
Okay, I can respond to that too. During the bicentennial, we had different things like that on the streets.
Yeah.
And the streets they were done with the consent of council and the mayor at the time.
Right.
Yes, that could be done, yes.
Okay.
And we wouldn't have to be interfering with the highway department.
Right.
Because by the time you got them painted on there, the highway department might know that you had done it. And if they didn't like it, they'd have to cover it up.
Okay,
So we can do it. They are our streets.
very good. Anyone else?
Any more history?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Don't mind if I can circulate around a couple copies.
Please.
of the letter.
Your name and who you represent
My name is Nick Brown. I represent the First Church of Nazarene.
here in Mount Sterling.
Absolutely.
Okay, Nick.
While that's going around, I'd second Dave. I was in the village on Saturday night, and as a born and raised in Mount Sterling, it was wonderful to see the amount of people out and about. So definitely, on behalf of the Church of Nazarene, we appreciate what the council are doing to get people out and about. Along the same lines, we've got a partnership led by Martin and Brittany as well. Anytime we've asked to serve this community, the village has not only said, yes, you can. Everybody got one now?
Do you have extras?
Here comes some.
Right now.
Yeah, right there.
The letter, and then there also should be a reference.
Yeah, I passed
Yep,
them around
that's
there.
Yep.
So, this was a letter, a copy of the letter was sent.
Here, I got one of these.
Addressed to Mayor Martin, but each of you should have also received this around the end of October, 1st of November.
Yes, we did. I do.
I'd like to just read it publicly in case someone didn't have a chance to take a look at it. It says, "Dear Mr. Martin, on behalf of the Mount Sterling First Church of Nazarene Church Board, I would like to request your immediate attention on a matter that we believe will not only have a negative impact on Mason Park and adjacent properties, but will also present a major roadblock in the village's ability to continue on the road of recovery to financial stability. As you know, American Electric Power is currently in the process of negotiating easement rights for a project that will upgrade current infrastructure and hopefully reduce future outages. The unfortunate side of this is that the proposed route would require easements from both the village and church on the south property line of Mason Park, which you're all very familiar with. I know you
Yep.
guys have talked about this as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which would allow AEP to run large steel power lines with a height of 80 to 90 feet on both properties. While the easy option for the church would be to negotiate a compensation amount with AEP based on the estimated loss in property value as a result of the lines, we felt the need to engage the village to discuss how this will also hinder future growth of the village, which is one of the few options for the village to ease out of the current status that has recently required you to charge residents a significant fee to provide water. A nominal compensation to the village for an easement could could potentially result in a substantial loss of future revenue generated by village growth near Mason Park. Our ask is that the village join us in asking AEP to cooperate with the community of Mount Sterling and reroute the power lines in a manner that provides the village opportunity to grow. Please feel free to reach out to us with any questions.
All right, I have some comments on that. This goes beyond Mount Sterling because you need to get the Circleville Herald and see what's happening in the Atlanta area with AEP. This is all tied in, but AEP is not saying anything about this. So it's large land near Atlanta, see, that's the township, the Atlanta school and the little village. So that's all tied in, and there's some ulterior motive to taking this land and putting these lines where they are.
Sure.
Also, in today's dispatch, if not today, yesterday, people in Columbus are having the same thing because they live in historical districts and they come home to find a large pole in their area between the street and their sidewalk. And the utilities are saying, yes, we can do that. Yes, they can do that to a certain extent, but this, I believe, is tied in with what I read in the paper about the area near Atlanta School or Williamsport, the land that's developed down there, and what AEP is planning. So it's all tied in. Now, I'm with you. I don't know why they just can't go around the park, but they're not trying.
And that's why we're here tonight. I apologize, I don't have enough copies, but on the map here that AEP provided us initially, there is a proposed reroute that appears to extend these lines far outside of Mount Sterling, where we give the village some opportunity for growth. So our goal is not to go here and say AEP, like, we're not trying to play hardball with AEP from the get-go. What we'd like to do is recognize that there are strength in numbers, that the village owns land, that the church owns land, I know Thurman Kale owns some of this land, but to go back and say, this is not what's best for the village, it's not what's best for the church, and ultimately, if AEP is upgrading infrastructure, it's really not what's best for AEP. Like, more consumers for AEP and village growth is a good thing. So really, we just ask that the council consider that.
Well, council will have to consider that, each their own. They gave me a copy of the letter. I showed it to my solicitor, and my solicitor recommended,
I recommend continued negotiation.
what,
Want to
on
negotiate, negotiate. I mean,
behalf of the village.
Yeah, and yes, I fully understand that.
Are we in
Our goal
negotiations
is,
with
again,
them?
No.
We settled.
Negotiations will provide the village somewhere, you
Pardon?
have the
It was
amount, will
denied.
provide the village somewhere between probably $15,000 and $20,000. The loss of revenue to the village, now and in the future, of the ability to expand that area out beyond Basin Park, is 100%.
Well, council, I believe, has already agreed on a settlement.
No, wrong.
We
Yes,
tabled
that,
it.
and so,
I can tell you from, and I spoke about it, I believe, last meeting. I personally, and I don't know how everyone, I was misled all along. I was told the pole was in a spot where it actually is nowhere close to where it is. The easements are, you're right, they are devaluing our property tremendously. What we were initially told is they were coming, we had no option, but there was only going to be one pole in the very back corner. It wouldn't be intrusive at all. And then we asked for stakes to be placed out so we could verify that, and that's not accurate at all. So I'm on your side, I agree, and I agree there's strength in numbers. I know the Parks and Rec Committee, today, we just had a meeting, and we are sending a letter to Josh at the power company. He has
Who's sending
another,
the letter?
we are, the Parks and
Who's
Recs,
we? Parks and Rec Committee's going to send a letter
yes.
to the
He
representative
came,
AEP
he came to our,
council.
he came to our last meeting before this one. And he asked us to send him a letter to him so he could present it to corporate or whoever it is, stating why how this is going to impose on us and why we don't want it. And so I know Courtney is going to be drafting up a letter on our behalf, and we'll be approving it and getting it to him before Thursday with whoever he meets with. I don't know if the church probably should do something similar before Thursday.
As well.
Okay, and he's a very nice,
Agreement, they never sent us.
And he understands where we're coming from. Because our goal is not to make their life difficult. Our goal
Yeah.
is to do
I
it with
remember
us.
that.
The two are not mutually exclusive.
It was when David
can
Owens was here.
upgrade
Right.
infrastructure, and we can give the village room to expand. It
Right.
doesn't have to be one.
Hey, Nick, if the church board could write a letter just like they're doing, maybe the combination of two would probably work out good. Give it a shot.
Well, this letter right
I need a motion. I need a motion. If you want to accept this letter, if you want to join this council, to join this group or this cause that they have.
I mean, I think we stand, I mean, I also think that, we have our own cause, and we've all talked about it. We tabled it last time. And we have a cause now that we would like some changes to be made as well. And that's what we are going to
Is that
send.
a consensus of council?
I think we should put it to a motion.
All right?
What exactly are we voting on?
Yeah. You're making a motion to join this group.
Well, I don't know that,
As a council, as a representative of the community.
So I would argue that
That's what we want.
I first of all appreciate Nick coming out tonight, and I fully support what you're trying to do. So end of story right there. I was out at the park over the weekend, and I paced out the easement, and it's really wide. And to Becky's point, it does infringe on quite a bit of the land out where kids are actively playing. And so my first and foremost concern is obviously any of our village residents who are actively playing under a high-tension power line. So we'll start with that first and foremost. Second thing, I agree with you in the long term, village growth, particularly that direction, is likely to occur. And somehow we got to triangulate between the park, potential growth that way, and moving industry sort of the other direction more towards, I think, 62, which is where it's originally under the master plan. I don't think we necessarily need a motion. I'll defer to our law director on that one. I don't think we need a motion, but we do stand in solidarity with the church, and as a community, we need to proceed forward together. And I don't think it's unreasonable for Nick and others who are working on the committee that's involved both the finance, which would accept the proposal from AEP and make a motion to move it on to council, as well as the Parks and Recs Committee, who would also have obviously a vested interest in that, to work with the church and ultimately finding a resolution to this issue. I think that the overall route of it is simply, it's going to infringe too much on a public park, which we worked really hard to get. And so we need to be compensated. At a minimum, we need to be, as I mentioned in the last meeting when this came up, we need to be compensated for it. I don't think we have an accurate real estate value from an appraiser who is qualified to make such a recommendation. I mean, we're going on AEPs. They were kind enough to bump up the figure, which is nice. But I know a number of other farmers are negotiating with AEP over the route right now and have brought in professional, both surveyors and appraisers, to go ahead and get an accurate value as to what a taking would really constitute. So my recommendation to council, my thought would be that we proceed forward with working with them simply on a basis of cooperation, to make sure that we, as a village, make sure that our park is preserved,
Marcy,
at a minimum.
what's your opinion? Since you're going to be heading up.
Yeah, I agree too. When I initially went out there and looked from my car at where they were staked out, I really didn't see an issue until I actually went out the second time and walked it like Andrew said he did, like Becky did and Jeff did. It is a very big swath, and it does pose some issues with growth of the park, especially where the diamonds are that are already laid out.
Absolutely. The batting cage.
Yeah, and so, yes, the Parks and Rec Committee did talk with Josh and did express the interest to try to renegotiate where it's located, and he did ask us to compose a letter, trying to be as sympathetic as we could to what our needs are, and if they would reconsider. He would not state whether, in fact, they would actually listen to that letter at all. He wouldn't commit to that.
Right.
So it may be a lost cause, I don't know, but, I mean, it's worth it to try.
And just so we're clear, the letter means not as a professional letter, and I don't know if that's what you're getting at, Mayor Martin. It's just an email. So it's just saying that he wanted to come in and say, you know, how is it going to affect it? Which means that where the pole is actually going to be constructed at, would there be able to be placed bleachers there, dugouts, fences, permanent structures? So I just want to be clear that it's no letter, it's just an email of compassion.
Right, that he's taking on to his people
Yes.
to
Right.
see if they will even consider.
Yeah, it's not an
Moving
official
it.
Yeah,
action,
because
it's
when
just,
when the church had first brought it, I know they brought it to you, and they brought it to me, and then they brought it to you guys as a council.
Absolutely.
At the first time, and I just want to be clear of how that process and motion worked, is that at the time, council was like, no, you know, there needs to be nothing done on our part. We're going to negotiate, we're going to move forward. So that was the first attempt, and then the second attempt was through me and through Billy, and it was, you know, we brought it to you guys as council in those committee meetings and during those finance work sessions, and at that time, it wasn't an issue either.
I think it's good to be built.
Once they staked
Once
it
they
out,
staked it, and you can
then
actually
could
physically
visually
see
it.
the
That's where I
footprint,
think
it's
the
pretty
council
significant.
Definitely seen where
Yeah.
that would be affected.
Well, Courtney, if this email going out, then that'll show what's going on, and especially if the Nazarene Church unifies with the email too. I think that'd work out both ways, show we're willing, but we need to talk.
Yeah, well, I mean, our
But-
situations are different. I mean,
Yeah, right.
we're getting compensated with value.
Exactly, but
Which means it affects most of our park.
Right.
You know, that
Mhm, yeah.
structure's actually built on our park, you know, so.
but I would like it to be said to the residents, because I think there's been some misunderstanding about that as well. We are absolutely not trying to sell off part of this park. That was never our intention. If we have our choice, we want to sell 0 of our park to AEP. We were told they are coming, like it or not, and then we were also told where the poles would be located, which is absolutely not where they will be located. And we were not made aware of how much they infringed on the park. And, I mean, it is unacceptable. We hope that they don't take it anyway, but I just want to be clear, because I know there's some talk out there that we are just trying to sell off part of our park to make some money. That is absolutely false.
Mr. Hicks, your opinion? I concur.
From what I heard him say, he said he was going to try his best.
Very good.
He also said that utility companies have a right to do what they want, basically.
Yes, they do.
So,
So,
I'll remind you.
so I guess council supports your cause.
And if I can just say one more thing, it's not as much moving over just a few, like, I'm not talking moving over 100 yards. Because if anything, 100 yards moves over completely off your property onto the church property, we would get more compensation and the village would get nothing. That's not what we want. The church board does not want that. We want the village to be able to grow, which would mean far beyond our property on the proposed reroute. And AEP, like that's an AEP document that they put that route in there. That's what we're asking them to do, to where the village wouldn't be compensated by AEP, the church would not be compensated by AEP,
They would just reroute.
but it would reroute and we would have that area to develop in the future.
Very good.
Did we have that reroute picture?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, we got it.
They're in the
Yeah,
PDD.
but,
brought it to
but
us
the,
down there, and I-
yeah,
It says nothing.
the pictures are really
Yeah,
hard
you have to
to
see it.
understand without
They make them
seeing.
vague on purpose.
Yeah.
So, council supports your cause. No executive session is called. That leads us to, Deputy Dill is not here. That leads us to Law Director, Mr. Pitstick.
The only thing I would say is, at this point in time, I did not have any idea about the tabling of
You wasn't here, David was.
Owens here. So I had no knowledge of what was going on with that. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of that. My other thought in reference to this issue is council always has a right to prepare a resolution in opposition to an action of a utility and/or the state legislature. I do it quite often, and council just basically states its position and then sends the resolution along with the letter to the company or the state government saying why you feel it's not appropriate to go forward with their current action. If that's something that you want to consider, then sometime in, I think the 14th of January, you're going to have another meeting. We can have that prepared, or beforehand. It depends upon what you want to do. So, just throwing out another idea, another possibility.
Okay.
When would we need to, like, make that motion to do that, or we just come to you, you make it up, and then we vote on it?
Tell me you want something made up, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about exactly what you want the resolution to include, because it isn't easy sometimes, because I've not been to the park, I've not walked the respective lines of construction, I've not done any of that. So I need something that expresses your concerns as council members and the church's concerns to be included in the resolution. And then we can prepare the resolution and present it to council for council's approval.
May we send this back to the Finance Committee for two opportunities? The first is to examine our solicitor's direction on this, and the second would be to encourage potentially the engagement of an appraiser to understand what the actual taking value is.
Yeah, but I would agree that I would love for them to look at completely rerouting it first as a first
I don't
option.
debate, we need every tool in the toolbox.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree with you more that
But, you know, the
we need to
unfortunate,
look at the
yeah.
reroute in complete detail as well. Because the micro, small, uber tiny map that is basically 4 inches by 4 inches, you would have no idea where it
No.
actually really goes through
And
people's yards.
now that the stakes are out there, for those of you that don't know, it actually infringes on Diamond 2. It takes away part of our outfield. It infringes on where we will be building dugouts for the fifth and final field there that's sat there. It already has its backstops and everything, but it hasn't been completely finished because it's sitting in a low area and we haven't been able to afford to tile it and bring it up to where it's not going to flood every week. So it infringes on where those dugouts would be already, and as already stated, it's probably within a few feet of our batting cage, the pole, the actual pole, the batting cage that's already there and fully made out of metal fence. I mean, it's probably 6 feet away from that. So it is not, I don't think it's safe, I don't think it's, it definitely needs moved, and a whole rerouting would be amazing. So we're behind you, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Utilities clerk called off sick, no report. Fiscal officer, Courtney Burke.
Okay, so if you guys want to pull out your reader reports, we're showing here a total of collections of $40,361.29 for Rita. We'll be getting another one for the last of the year, around the 15th of December. Any questions on that? And then, comparison of budget and appropriation.
Well, I might have some comments on Rita. Noting what we took in the distribution in 2019 compared to 2018, we are down about $51,000. That's not good either. So those things are happening and we have to be on top of those. So 51,000 for the year, so it's about a 6% cut.
Right.
We have to watch that.
Yep. And we're still participating in the delinquency program, so hopefully we can get those owed monies in. The comparison of budget and appropriated, as I stated last meeting, everything on your guys' reports have changed, so I hope you guys did make note of that. The loans have already been taken out, I did send those early, and these reports are a reflection. So the comparison of a budget and appropriation, you will see that there was an increase in revenues and the change of appropriations in the general fund. The appropriation status, as you can tell, right now, we should probably be about almost to 100% because we are kind of idling out the end of the year. So the general fund, it is showing a total expenditure thus far would be 59%, which is great. Way below what was estimated for expenditure. But again, year-to-date expenditure percentages should be closer near 100%. The street fund is at 85%. Right now, we will be getting, this will probably change. You guys probably won't see that until January. But we do need to get our salt truck, which is our dump truck. It needs to be in repair. It's leaking fluid. So that's going to be an expenditure that today I called to see how much that would cost. So again, this would be taken out of the street fund.
Have we purchased salt yet?
We still have salt in there.
Okay.
So just depending upon how much we're gonna get this year, it is gonna be dependent on probably next year's budget is when we need to take it out of.
Thank you.
I have some comments too. While we're talking about the money coming in from the state of Ohio with the gasoline tax, we're going to have to keep our eyes open on that because the county is getting this money.
Yes,
And
I announced it during one of our finance work
I know.
sessions, that it's about 2 cents for every dollar. So according to like our state or our street fund, we're probably gonna get an increase of about $5,000.
we need to watch that. We need to have some direction on that because we don't know whether we're getting our share or somebody else is taking our
Right.
share.
Yeah, because we won't be able to see that until we actually get our first payment and see how it's actually divvied amongst everybody, because everybody will get a cut of this amount.
And the only communication we have would be the last Madison Messenger, where they met with the county commissioners.
Yeah, so they're still working out how much that's truly gonna be, but I'm estimating around 5,000 for the street fund. In the water fund, you can see it's at 84%. Of course, you'll see all of the 100% here for the loans. Again, we're still under budget, 84%, because we should be sitting at almost around 100.
And for the public's benefit, we will carry those unspent monies over to
Yes.
fiscal year 2020.
Correct.
So the money isn't going to, for example, revert to the state or something like that. It stays with Mount Sterling, and those are dollars that we get to do something with in 2020.
Yeah, and that's what we call a carryover.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
The sewer fund, as you can tell, it's at 81%. Again, those loans have been paid. Check has already been cashed. So I just wanted to make sure that I wanted to send the loans out early so that you guys could actually see that reflection on your, all of your reports. Again, just as a reminder for the public, tomorrow at 10 o'clock is our commission meeting, Financial Planning and Commission Committee meeting at 10 o'clock here at Town Hall. It will be the last one for the 2019 year. It is open to the public, and it's also going to be streaming live, as it always is, on YouTube, if anybody can't make it. Okay, the next report is the cash summary by fund. We are showing here, again, a reflection of everything that's been paid out. Again, we had to pay around $400,000 in loans. Again, we pay that twice a year, once in July, once in December. Again, that's showing your reflection here in our general fund. Any questions on that? And these reports are for the month of November because I will be passing around the bank reconciliation for the month of November. So again, some of these may have been a duplicate of what we seen last meeting. For our receipt listing, there's nothing much to report on this. Again, just our general acceptance of the sewer and water bills, our RETA income received. There is an ADP credit on here. This was for an employee, a former employee that was, ADP had made an error on his payroll, so that's a correction. The next report is the payment listing. The only thing I need to point out here is, let's see, our payment to the Kurtz Brothers for our ball mix. We also have on here Hall Signs, which is the signs that we recently purchased. That was the payment that was sent out in our streets department. And of course, our loan payments.
I have a question. How does that, didn't we transfer money from the general fund to water and sewage?
We did.
We did?
We transferred $200,000 from the general fund to the water fund.
So these figures reflect
They do.
that transfer
Yes.
of
That's why I wanted to do
of
it now.
200,
because of
200,000?
200,000.
So that tells you that it's not self-sustaining.
Well, the 200,000, so let me back up here. The 200,000, 100,000 of that is because we needed new software for our systems come in July 1st. So that was for purchasing meters and for the new software that we're gonna be setting up because Misty's system will be obsolete come July.
Right.
The 100,000 was to cover what we have as the loans for
Right.
water.
Right.
Again, I did not have to use all of the 100,000, but that was just what the auditors want to transfer just in case, because we did have we only meet every 3 months.
And again, anything unspent will carry over to 2020.
They will.
Yes.
So
In
it-
those funds.
It does not revert back to the
It does
general
not.
fund. It stays
No,
sitting, and so we
right.
can use it for loan payments, we
Right.
can use it for whatever as it relates to
Correct.
sewer and water.
That's right. The last report that you guys have here in front of you is your revenue status. Again, for the general fund, we are showing here, we're at 105%. Again, this is a reflection from the forecast that we approved per the auditor's request. Again, we're still at 105%, which is, we're only 5% over what was budgeted. And again, all of these will change as we approve the third reading of the budget tonight. And then come January 1, everything will be reverted back to what we've just approved today, or should approve today. Okay, so any questions on the financial reports before I move to the next thing?
I got my fingers crossed that'll be the last commission meeting.
Well, we'll see.
Hoping.
Okay, so the last but not least is our bank reconciliation. I did reconcile it here down on December the 5th, down to the penny. Nothing was more, nothing was less, everything was accounted for. So I will ask Mayor Martin to place a motion to accept the appropriation status, the revenue status, the receipt listing, payment listing, comparison of budget listing, cash summary by fund, the RETA report, and the bank reconciliation for November.
I'll give you
Yeah.
that
Give me the
motion.
motion.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
second.
Thank you.
Okay, now
Vote.
who's
Lowell,
Lowell
Lowell and
first,
Craig.
And Craig was second. Okay. Roll call.
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Lowell?
Yes?
Craig?
Yes.
And if I may circulate this around for your signatures, tomorrow, I will be asking the auditors if we can remove these two unidentified items, which happened way before my time and way before your guys' time, to see if we can take that off moving forward. Hopefully we can get that taken care of.
Hope so.
Okay, finance, Mr. Anderson.
I don't have anything further on finance. What about Morrison and those projects? Are we gonna do that on finance, or?
Yeah, they were gonna review them. So I know you reviewed them and David reviewed them. I gotta get with Becky to make sure too.
Okay. So nothing,
Can I have this signed, please?
Nothing on finance?
nothing more than what we have. We do
Okay.
have some areas, but we need Becky to go over some of these estimates we have for repairs.
Okay. Pleasant Township, Mr. Hicks.
The trustees accepted a bid on their truck they were selling. And they also erected the baratoriums for the cremations. And they are now in place. They were placed there last week. And that's it.
Very good. Squad, Mr. Anderson.
Yes, squad met after we had our last meeting, and then they will meet this Wednesday night. One important thing, two important things. The levies passed, so the levies for the squad passed. I might move, that might help you.
Sorry.
The squad levies passed, so they're in good financial standing. They discussed, and we're going to do this, put a truck or a squad available, and it's going to be in Sedalia, so that they can get closer, time-wise, to South Solon on a run. So they're going to work on having a station there, a squad. So they have the money, and that would help South Solon, give them. So that is going to be worked on and fine-tuned on that, but it's pretty well set in stone. Yes, we are going to do that.
Okay.
That's it.
Very good. Fire,
Is it gonna be at Midway?
Marcy?
Yep.
Okay.
The last meeting, they talked about their new metal roof is finished, and it looks really nice. They're still trying to sell the safety house that they don't utilize as much as they used to, but they don't have any takers as of now. They're searching for a new medical director. I forget why the last one maybe retired or something. And I think they're looking at Ohio Health EMS as a possibility. And they did mention that they had 366 runs so far this year, which is higher than it's ever been. And we still have the rest of the year to go. And the next meeting will
The fire
be,
department had 360-some runs?
yep,
Fire.
yep. And next meeting will be December 30th. They're moving it from the 26th to the 30th at 8 o'clock.
Very good. Water, wastewater, Becky Martin.
Yes. I wanted to let everyone know there's a big question out there. Are we raising the water rates again? There's been a lot of scuttlebutt. I know I talked to our water clerk today, and she said someone came in and asked if we were adding on another $50. I just want to assure everyone the answer to that is no. We are not adding on another $50 for debt services. What is in the ordinance, a 2018 ordinance, 2018-54 and 2018-55, is that every year there would be a cost of living essentially increase in the water and sewer. And based on 1.8 CPI, I believe it's going to be a little lower than that, but that would actually only increase your water and sewer bill by 58 cents for your first unit and 24 cents per additional unit. So even if you're a large family using 6 units, your water bill will only increase $1.78. Your water sewer bill will only increase $1.78. So I just wanted to calm some of those fears out there. It's just a cost of living increase that is standard on a lot of utilities, and it's no more than what that CPI is. It could be 1.6, which will even save you a few more pennies. But my math I did on 1.8. So again, that first unit, if you only use one unit, is only going to increase your water bill 58 cents. And I usually use 2 units, so my water bill, both my home and business, are going to go up 82 cents a month. So I just wanted to let everybody know that it's not doom and gloom on the horizon, that's all that is happening, and that was written in an ordinance a year ago.
Right.
And other than that, I don't think I have anything on I think we're done for the year, dependent on who the new president pro temp is and who assigns committees and who's on what committee. I can't really tell you when our next meeting is going to be at the first of the year. If you come back to our January 14th meeting, hopefully everything's reestablished then, and we know what committees we're on, and we can set up, according to those committee chairmen, what dates are good for them. So that's all I have on that.
Very good. Street Department, David Timmons.
On the streets, Andy's been talking to Rich on that, so Andy's working on that case. And also, when we discussed about some signs about where we just talked about where the school buses have been stopping, we think there should be some signs there. And we also talked about some big truck signs in some of our streets, which us three agree on. They've been tearing up a lot of our streets. So I think we need to have some weight limit signs, and we're going to discuss that more in January, whoever the chairperson will be and who's been picked. But we discussed that, and basically, we talked about, too, about the leaves situation. And it's about over with now, but when them leaves get into them, our little grades there, you end up having a Lake Erie on your hands very quickly. And also, we was talking about preparing for the winter, which I heard Courtney said the salt should be the situation. So that's about the main things we discussed, Mr. Mayor.
Very good.
Can I make one comment, David, on that? I like that you said, like, maybe some signs should be placed where there's children loading on buses and things. And just with that said, I would like to caution the drivers. I see it firsthand every single day where I live. Right now, our kids are getting on the bus and it's dark. And when the school bus pulls up, it flips on the lights and they go yellow, and they stay yellow for several seconds before they go red. And almost every single day on 62, there's at least 5 cars that fly through the yellow lights, just trying to beat it before it goes red. And there are children standing right there at the curbs. And I just urge drivers to just stop when you see the yellow flashing lights and not, wait until they go red, because children's lives are
I
at
think
stake.
that's where our sheriff's department ought to be told, let's work on this. And she made a good point. But the sheriff's department should be watching these for us also.
Very good.
With the receipt of new signs, the street commission is in the process of determining where all of those should go. Please, 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 we would need input from all the residents. If you have a sign which is deteriorated, which of course we do all over the place, let's get after them. We have a certain amount. We can order more in fiscal year 2020 when that comes around, obviously. One of the things we did discuss is resident feedback on the worst of the worst signs, getting those prioritized first, signs that are knocked down, signs that are completely eroded away, just things like stop signs, just so that you don't roll through a street intersection where there might be kids, where there's oncoming traffic, that sort of thing. Please consider, if you're a resident and you happen to notice in your yard like mine that a sign is not looking so hot, please reach out to one of us or call village offices, and we'll be happy to start getting that on the list to be taken care of.
Parks and Rec, Marcy.
We had a meeting this afternoon, and we discussed the AEP situation and putting that letter together for Josh. We also talked about the wish list for the Parks and Rec Department for 2020, and which included things like the possibility of a dog park, splash pad, and comprehensive plan maybe to see what we should look for going forward and what the public would like to see for our parks. We also talked about some grant possibilities with ODNR, including an aquatic grant and a NatureWorks grant that might help us make some of those dreams come true. And I'll be working on that next year. We did talk about a possible festival idea, and that's just the kind of just beginning ideas, because we had some people reach out from the community saying that they'd like to have a really nice festival that people look forward to every year to go along with our summer jam and our wonderful Christmas in the park or Christmas in the village program that we had. It just was wonderful. If you didn't get out, you missed it. And yeah, that's about it. And as Becky said, we will know after the first of the year who will be in charge of the new committees, and they'll establish the
Marcy,
time
is
for the
there any
next
talk of
meeting.
a bicycle path yet?
The walking path.
Yeah.
That's
bicycle
one of
path.
the other, like,
It's on the big plan.
exactly, I still haven't read it, I still want it.
Very good. Record of retention, Mr. Anderson.
The Records and Retention Committee, does Bob and Jim Davis, I had to think. We are working, and we're going to work with Courtney and put it together and send it in, hopefully soon.
Very
Before
good.
the first of the year.
Nuisance abatement. Martin.
Oh, our final meeting of the year will be the 17th, a week from tomorrow, at 2 o'clock. We'll just be finishing up the year. We have a code enforcement officer we're hoping to put in place at the beginning of the year to work on a part-time basis to help identify nuisance issues, and we're going to be, have him working closely with Mark, getting some enforcement done around the village, and, yeah, that's it.
Block watch, Mr. Timmons.
On the block watch, first I want to say I had a good group to work with this year. It was really interesting. We got a lot of things done, got some stuff established, and want to bring out again about the porch parts. It's that time of year again. Watch for them gifts on your porch. It only takes them a little second to nail it, and watch out for that. And also, I always like to talk about these scams. There's the new scam of the week. This scam here, they call you up. Your bank account is all out of whack, and they really need to have your bank number. Do not give them that. Like I always said, either take your cell phone and slam it or slam the receiver. Do not give them no information. And also, getting close to winter now, watch for your elderly neighbors now. There's always the cold weather and stuff. Make sure they're okay in and out, and keep an eye out on them. And that's all I got to report, sir.
Very good. That leads us to ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance 2019-26. This is an ordinance to approve the 2020 budget and make appropriations for the current expenses for the Village of Mount Sterling during the fiscal year 2020 ending in December 31st. This is on the third reading. I need a motion to place ordinance 219-26 on the third reading.
I'll do that.
Thank you. Second. Thank you. Vote?
David?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Lowell?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Now I need a motion for passage of ordinance 219-26.
I'll give you the motion. to
Thank
pass.
you.
I'll second.
Go ahead.
Roll call.
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Lowell?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Okay, the ordinance 2019-26 is passed.
Very good. That leads us to ordinance 2019-27. This is an ordinance amending ordinance 2018-62, adopting procedures and methodologies for the payment of water and sewer bills, and council wants to declare this an emergency. So I need a motion to suspend the rules for ordinance 2019-27.
You got it.
I'll second.
Vote?
David?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Lowell?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
I need a motion to place this on the first, second, and third readings tonight.
I'll give you the motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Vote?
David?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Lowell?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
I need a motion, what was that motion for? Passage or
The next
three?
one's for post. for passage.
Okay, I need a motion for passage of 219-27.
Yes.
Second,
Yes.
thank you. Vote?
David?
Yes.
Andy?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Lowell?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Ordinance 2019-27 is passed.
Now, Resolution
Oh, that's
219-26. This is a resolution authorizing me, Mayor, to enter to an agreement with 2020 health insurance package for the village employees and declaring this an emergency.
Yes.
Second?
Give you the
Second.
motion.
That was to suspend the rules, correct?
Yes.
Right?
Vote?
David,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Lowell,
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
I need a motion to place this on the first, second, and third readings tonight.
Yes.
I'll second.
Thank you. When's questions? Now?
Got first, second, so.
My question is, who does this package, who are the village employees? Because this
That
is,
would be for the new mayor, for Misty and myself.
okay. I just wanted to make sure I understood that. I need a vote.
David,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Lowell,
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Now I need a motion to adopt 219-26.
Got it.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Vote.
David,
Yes.
Andy,
Yes.
Marcy,
Yes.
Becky,
Yes.
Lowell,
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Okay, resolution 2019-26 is passed.
Very good. That leads us to roundtable. Anybody?
Are you,
I gotta get back to the Christmas in the village again. It was so interesting to see so many people turn out. It reminded me of the old days of the town at Christmas time, Bill. It was
Yeah.
really good to see. And also, I want to recognize Mr. Anderson over there, all the years he's gave to this village, not in his work of education and what he's done for so many things. And he really accomplished a lot for the village, and I appreciate it, sir.
Very good. Is that it?
no.
Huh?
He has something to say and then I
I
do.
would like to give a big kudos shout out to all of our small business owners who had a great holiday weekend and hope we have a rest of the good holiday season as well. I had a chance to run up and down and many were mobbed. So that is a really big vote of confidence for our town. Small business owners were working hard as all get out and your dollars matter when they stay here in town. They're affecting your neighbors and to be honest with you, it makes our village just a standout compared to a lot of other ones. So thank you for the small business owners who are doing what they can to bring a lot of activity to downtown, and in particular, what a great weekend it was here in the village. So, and I'll take the llama home with me.
That's your Shabaka.
Now, Chewbacca can stay, the llama goes. The llamas were great. Anybody who did not get a kiss from a llama, it's an experience.
Okay.
It's an experience.
Anyone else?
Yes. I want to congratulate publicly Marcy Darlington, who will be our new mayor at our next council meeting. Congratulations on a campaign well-run.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I want to thank Billy Martin, our current mayor, for all of his public service that he has done for this community, and I'm sure will continue to do. No matter what anyone has to say about Billy, he loves this community, and we should all be grateful for everything he has done for our community. So thank you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you.
And then I would also like to thank Lowell for everything he's done for the community, years and years and years of service. And it is not easy, and most of the time, it's a thankless job, as probably everyone can attest to. Sometimes people will give you a small pat on the back right before, and then they'll kick you in the knee, right? So thank you for everything. And just back to Christmas in the Village, I do want to thank a few people. As you were saying, Andy, it was like so heartwarming to see all the people out shopping and enjoying, singing, caroling, walking down the streets with packages. It truly was something like out of Hallmark. And we had hundreds of people out. It was our best Christmas in the Village, I would say, in years. And there was a lot of work put in behind the scenes from, I just want to thank the village workers, the chamber members, the market crew, local businesses, local vendors, the United Methodist Church, who provided free cookies and things. The American Legion, who gave generously again for the Giving Tree, and the Giving Tree was well received. Lots and lots of hats and mittens and scarves were taken, and we were happy about that. I'd like to thank Santa Claus, Tim Phillips. He's another person that loves his community. Even though he lives in the country, he loves Mount Sterling, and thank you to him. Madison Plains Band, the local Boy Scouts troop. The local Boy Scouts troop not only was in the parade, but they came and did a community service project. They decorated our Giving Tree. They filled all the luminaries and put them out for us and turned all those little batteries on. It was, it saved us literally hours of time, and it was so nice. And then they did walk in the parade, and I want to thank everyone that got in the parade, businesses, individuals. It was a great parade. There were more vehicles than ever, and we hope next year to increase those numbers and increase all of our activities. And thank you to all the contestants in all of our little contests we did. We had some good chili and baked goods, and some ugly sweaters and some ugly pet sweaters, just very grateful that I know in the past sometimes I'll say I wish community members would come out and support events. Boy, did they. It was really nice, and thank you to everyone, and I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Okay, thank you very
Yes, I'd
much.
like to take this opportunity, since we will not be meeting anymore, to wish all the residents a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Very good, very good.
Here, here.
Is that it? Thank you all very much. We're adjourned.
Oh, we're off the record. I forgot to mention,
Thank you.
since we're still being taped, there will be a council position open the first of the year. If you are interested, send a letter of interest simply to Courtney. And the next few weeks, I know it's busy with the holidays, but if you're interested in being on council, just send a letter of interest in, and probably the first of the year, council will look over those and be interviewing.
And a village administrator position is open as well.
Right, it's on the website, and will be up for at least the rest of the week.
Call me or email me.
If we do, the village administrator that we're taking, you might want to approve it, because that would benefit, I mean, we're not doing it because of
Oh, right, you're
I
right.
watched that though.
Yeah.